And a very happy day, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Burgess back with Think and Grow Rich. And you know, today we have an amazing chapter that I had all wrong for years. This chapter is called The Power of the Mastermind. It's chapter 10, it's the 9th principle, and Napoleon calls it the driving force. And what he says, he talks about how power. Now, we know we have to have power to do anything. We have to have power from within, we have to have power from the outside, and Napoleon says power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Now remember, the book was written for men and women who resent poverty. It's for people who resent poverty, and then he makes sure he instructs us that the book is not just written for the accumulation of money, it's written for the fulfillment of life. There's a big difference. So power is essential for success in the accumulation of money. Now, these plans that we were told we have to make, remember, step 4 in the 6 steps is create a definite plan to begin at once, whether you're ready or not. And then the first part of the chapter on organized planning is how to create a definite plan. But these plans are inert and useless without sufficient power to translate them into action. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if we don't take intelligent action, not just action, people take action all the time. But is it intelligent action moving them in the direction of their goals? Or are they one of those people who are so active and so busy that they forget about productivity? Okay, let's make sure we take intelligent action, not just action. Okay, now this chapter will describe the method by which an individual may attain and apply this thing we see is called wing power. Now, power may be defined, and we probably should do that. We probably should define power. Because if you don't have a clear image on the screen of your mind, what do you have? See, power is organized and intelligently directed knowledge. Now, we've been gaining knowledge by studying this book. Power is organizing that knowledge and then giving it an intelligent direction to a definite end. Because without doing that, all the knowledge is useless. It doesn't matter how many books we read, how many books we've studied, how many years we spend in school, how many initials there are after our name on the business card. None of that matters if we don't take intelligent action. It says power, as the term is here used, refers to organized effort. Now think about organized effort. If without organized effort, nothing gets done. What he's talking about here is organized effort sufficient to enable us to transmute the desire for money into money, or the desire for something into something, instead of just the desire. Now, organized effort is produced through what? The coordination of effort of 2 or more people who work together in a spirit of harmony. Now, remember, in other parts of the book, he talks about where harmony does not exist, you can expect to meet with failure. That's why we want to have harmony. I mean, there's some groups that I have a hard time being in harmony, so I have to remove myself from the group. There's nothing wrong with the group, nothing wrong with the energy. I'm just not in harmony, that's all. So why go into the group and create a friction? See, without perfect harmony, you can expect to meet with failure. Think about that. Think about your marriages. Think about relationships. See, that's the most important mastermind partner you have. And if you're not operating truly in perfect harmony, you probably will meet with failure. There's no question about it. Now, power is required for the accumulation of money, but here's more importantly still, power is required for the retention of money after it has been accumulated. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a money-savvy individual that you would want to invest your money with and let me do this or do that with it. That's not what I do. So this power that Napoleon's talking about now is a different member of our mastermind group. It's somebody who has that specialized knowledge. Now remember, from the chapter on specialized knowledge, unfortunately, we were taught to be, you know, the jack of all trades and master of none. And Napoleon is instructing us that's not what you want to do. That's not what Henry Ford did. That's not what Andrew Carnegie did. That's not what anybody did that's accumulated or accomplished great things. They weren't the jack of all trades. As a matter of fact, Andrew Carnegie knew absolutely nothing of the technical end of the manufacturing or marketing of steel. All of the power that was required to do that, he found in the individual units of his mastermind. He had approximately 50 people that he surrounded himself with. This man knew absolutely nothing about the technical end of the manufacturing or marketing of steel, yet he was the wealthiest man in the world in the steel industry. Now wrap your mind around that. Completely wrap your mind around what was just said. And oh, by the way, that is a fact. And you realize that we don't have to know everything. You also realize that we want to surround ourselves with good quality, intelligent people. We want to use great discrimination in the selection of our mastermind group. And when we surround ourselves with these people who take the initiative, who have the ambition, and whose mind is absolutely wired in perfect harmony with the definite chief aim or the definite objective of this group, and we operate because of one common purpose. See, I told you, and I promised that I'd separate definite major purpose, definite chief aim, and definite goal, so I might as well do that right now. Your definite major purpose is why you get out of bed in the morning. Now, I know some people think their definite major purpose is to accumulate and accomplish a certain number of dollars, free and clear, this way, that way, or whatever. That's not a definite major purpose. Please excuse me if I've annoyed you in some way, but follow me here for a minute. And I'll just use myself as an example. See, my definite major purpose is to help another person become more than they would have become without my influence through the teachings of Think and Grow Rich and related materials. That's my definite major purpose. That's why I get up in the morning. That's why we're doing what we're doing here. That's my definite major purpose in life. Now I have a definite chief aim to obtain X number of followers in a certain amount of time, to produce X amount of revenue, to live the life the way we wish to live, and more importantly, to give the way we wish to give. That's a definite chief aim. Now we have a definite goal of what we're going to do today, and this week, and this month, and this quarter. So I operate from my definite major goal while I reach my definite chief aim, and all the time while I'm living my definite major purpose in this game we call life. Now, the more discrimination that I use in the selection of my mastermind group, the people I surround myself with, the more productivity that we get, the more people we can affect in a positive manner with this material. Because that's what we're all about. How can we affect people in a positive manner all around the world by teaching Napoleon Hill's material and keeping Napoleon's legacy going? So there's my definite major purpose, my definite chief aim, and my definite goal. Now, I promised I would separate those. And I truly believe with every cell of my being, absolutely believe with everything I have, that if Napoleon Hill were here with us today, and oh, by the way, I guess he is through me and through other people teaching this material, I believe he would agree with what I said there. I absolutely believe he would separate auto-suggestion from self-suggestion. I believe Napoleon would continue to evolve and simplify the material, just as he has done throughout his entire writing career. He simplified his material, and we're doing the same thing. So I absolutely believe Napoleon Hill would do that. So separate the two. What's your definite major purpose? And what's your definite chief aim? And what's your definite goal? When you separate those, now you can use better discrimination in the selection of your mastermind group, which is so critical because the people you surround yourself with are ultimately who you become. Remember, we become who we hang around. So who are we hanging around? I mean, truly think about that. Are you hanging around people who are wired together with you in perfect harmony to reach a definite objective, a definite chief aim? Are they living with the same type of definite major purpose to serve others? Because if you're not surrounding yourself with those types of people, they will lead you off of the track. They will distract you. They will create a habit in you of drifting instead of on purpose. Intentional. See, nothing's going to distract me from doing what I want to do, from living my definite major purpose. Nothing. To help another person become more than they would have become without my influence through the teachings of this book. And the people I've surrounded myself with are all extremely supportive to help me do this. You've heard me say this over and over again at the end of every one of these videos. Thank you, Joe. Joe supports that. Joe helps me. He helps me stay focused, stay on task. Joe's an awesome person to have as part of the mastermind. Now, do Joe and I talk every day because we have one definite major objective together? No. No. But he's still a member of a mastermind with me to help me stay focused on my definite major objective. As you study this material, you'll understand more of what I just said. I know some of you are going, dude, you just said 3 different things in the same sentence. And I used to think that too when I read this book. Napoleon, you just said 3 or 4 different things. Well, then as I continued to study the book, study the material, I realized he didn't really just say 3 or 4 different things. He really didn't. So please keep differentiated your definite major purpose, your definite chief aim, and your definite goal. Keep them separate. Now he says, let us ascertain how power may be acquired. If power is to organize knowledge, what are the sources of the knowledge? Well, of course, you have infinite intelligence. And the source of that particular source of knowledge does not err. Not at all. Then, of course, we have your accumulated experience. And not only your accumulated experience, but we have the accumulated experience of all the people, because we can go to the library and get it as much as we want. And then, of course, we have experiment and research. Now, if we don't already know something, and we wish to know that something, the only place for us to go is to experiment and research. It's the only place we can go. Knowledge may be acquired from any of those sources, but unless it is organized into plans of definite, immediate, intelligent action, the knowledge is useless. You might as well not have it. So now let's define the mastermind. He says the mastermind may be defined as coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Now he says definite purpose. I'm going to change that and say for the attainment of a definite chief aim. They're living on purpose. They're living their purpose while they accomplish the definite chief aim. That's what's going on. He says no individual may have great power without availing himself of the mastermind principle. Could you imagine Carnegie trying to do all of the steel, or run the steel industry, run the steel mills all by himself? No, he had scientists, and he had attorneys, and he had metallurgists, and he had people who knew how to supervise others. Think about the massive amount of support that he surrounded himself with to run those steel mills, and ultimately he became the wealthiest man in the world, knowing nothing about how to make steel or market steel. Tells you you don't have to know everything. Don't have to know everything at all. Not at all. He says this in a preceding chapter. This is very important. In a preceding chapter, instructions were given for the creation of plans for the purpose of translating desire into its monetary equivalent. Monetary equivalent or whatever, it doesn't make any difference. He says if you carry out these instructions with persistence and intelligence, and use discrimination in the selection of your mastermind group, your objective will have been halfway reached even before you begin to realize it. Your objective will be halfway reached even before you begin to realize it. So there's where a point where Napoleon starts to separate definite major objective, definite chief aim. Will be halfway realized. And then he goes into a part about understanding the intangible potentialities of power available to us through a properly chosen mastermind group. See, when you wire 2 minds together for the same goal, the same mission, the same definite major purpose, serving people, the same definite chief aim to accomplish this within this amount of time, and then the same goal, and you wire those minds together, that's like putting batteries together. You gain that much more power. Napoleon says when you wire 2 minds together in that manner, you actually create a third intangible, invisible mind that brings knowledge. Now, I can't tell you whether or not that'll happen for you. I can only tell you that I've experienced it for myself. And answers come to these questions and to these issues, and you go, where in the world did that come from? Well, you can use your own imagination. I believe I know where it came from. It's called infinite intelligence. Some may call it God. That's where the answer came from. So it's very important that we wire ourselves together with a properly chosen mastermind. It's very important that we use extreme discrimination in the selection of that mastermind. And don't be afraid to remove somebody if they're not in total harmony. Don't be afraid to remove yourself from another one if you're not in perfect harmony with it. Don't let the fear of criticism keep you someplace where you should not be. And remember this, the most important mastermind partner you have is your significant other. Make sure you have perfect harmony in that relationship, and nothing can ever come between you. As always, we want to thank Joe. Without Joe, truly, we wouldn't be here. I think of Joe every time that I turn this camera on. Every time this thing gets turned on, every time I think of Joe, and I want to thank Joe. Because without him reminding me of some of the principles that we talk about together all the time, I wouldn't be here. Without question, we wouldn't be here. So thank you, Joe. As always, one of our strongest desires is that this day be the very best day you have ever experienced in this game we call life. Yesterday doesn't matter. Tomorrow isn't here. However, today you can make a decision to allow this day to be the very best day. And that's up to each one of us. Tonight, when you put your head on a pillow, please do so with a mind full of peace. Remember, calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And may God bless each and every one of you. Have a fabulous day.